Hey, it's your pal Filthy. Welcome back to Bloomfield, Canada. We've got a busy day ahead of us. We're going to do some fertilizing, we're going to do some contract work, and we're going to have some fun. All that and more is coming up. Stay tuned. Here we are back once again on the farm. As you can see, it is still January. We've got some work to get done, and that's why I didn't want to advance to the next day, because we're going to try and make some money, and then we're going to try and fertilize our fields. If we go into the map here, I'll show you what I'm talking about. You'll see that my fields, 49 and this makeshift field that we have, are both a lighter blue color compared to 51 or 54. That means that they've only received one level of fertilization, one fertilizing treatment. I'm not sure what the appropriate language would be for that. But anyway, we've got to fertilize this so the grass on our makeshift field and the wheat on our field 49 are yielding as much as they possibly can. But things will need to change in that regard. We will have to change the tires on our tractor to narrow tires, which I'm not confident that we'll be able to do. I'm just going to double check something while we're before we get rolling. We own this one here. I'm not actually buying a new one. I just wanted to see. Yeah, so it's about $1,000 to put narrow tires on the tractor, but we need the narrow tires is a hard word, apparently. So we need to get the narrow tires, but again, we've got to be making some money, so I thought we would start today with a cultivation contract, and it's not going to yield too much money. You see the contract that we're thinking is this one here on field 17. It's $6,381 less $1,000 or $1,005 if we borrow their equipment, which we are going to do because we don't have a cultivator, and before the episode even started, I looked to see what kind of cultivators we could afford, and the answer is these here, which are 2.5 meters for this blue one and 3 meters for the red one, and that's just not big enough, whereas the one that we are borrowing from them is 8.4 meters, and I believe they are loaning us one of the bigger tractors in the whole game. We'll head into the big tractors. It's this thing here. It goes 40 kilometers an hour. It weighs 18.8 tons. It's got crazy horsepower. So yeah, we're just going to lease the equipment like we've done in other contracts. It's $1,000 less, but we're still going to be making just over $5,000, and I think that'll be worth it in the long run. And at this point, we can't really be scoffing at money. Okay, so I'm going to borrow those items and head over to the store, which, as I've said in previous episodes on console, you can just click the button and hop between the vehicles that you own. And Field 17 is just a little bit beyond our plot of land, our farm. So we'll head over there, and then once we get there, I'll bring you guys back in. I know I said I was going to bring you back in once we got to the field, but I wanted to show something. That Field 17, the one that we're going to, is another field that essentially you can only access by cutting through our farm. So in the big picture, it kind of seems like it was a good idea that I settled on this farm. I know I settled on it because it came with various pieces of infrastructure already in place, but now that I'm seeing how many of the farms up this way, or not even farms, but fields, how many of the fields up this way can only be accessed through our property, I'm kind of glad it's I didn't realize at the time how much our property was going to be centralized in the map, and how it's made accessing other fields that much easier. Just like the planter, just like the plow, just like pretty much everything we've used up to this point, the cultivator works by just lowering it down and driving over the field. And you'll see I'm doing a bit of overhang. This time it was a bit of an accident, but it is working. For an example, that it clears the snow out of the way as well. So if you're worried about that while you're playing your own file, that there's snow on the ground, you're worried you're not going to see the change in textures or whatever, then you don't have to worry about it in this case, because the cultivator will get rid of the snow for you. So we'll keep doing a couple passes, and this shouldn't take too long based on the horsepower that we have with this tractor, with everything we've got rented here, and yeah, we'll keep going, and I'll see you in a bit. Well, as you can see, we're not quite done cultivating. I wanted to bring you guys back in because as this episode is going to be published, I will be in the throes of a fundraising campaign for the Canadian Cancer Society. If you watch my last that Geez, words are hard today. If you watched my last episode, if I could get that sentence out, I talked about the Dry February campaign. Well, that continues, and I would really appreciate the support. If you've got some money to donate, great. I've provided a link below. If you want some more information about Dry Feb or the Canadian Cancer Society, you can go to dryfeb.ca. But if you didn't watch last episode, if you're just catching me now, basically, Dry Feb is a campaign that the Canadian Cancer Society does every February where participants like myself give up drinking alcohol for the month of February and raise money for cancer research. And if you're asking yourself, what's the connection between alcohol and cancer research? Well, according to the Canadian Cancer Society, alcohol consumption has been linked to higher risks of cancer and various other medical problems that can be directly correlated to alcohol. And aside from the medical part of it, for myself, alcoholism runs in my family, so having this reminder that drinking isn't necessarily a problem for me. I know for a fact that there's still a bit of an addiction side to it, that times that I go without alcohol, including during Dry February, there's not quite like a craving, but there's certainly like you know what, the Super Bowl's happening, it's my partner's birthday, blah blah blah. These are all occasions it'd be kind of nice to have a drink. So it's like I said, it's a nice little reminder as to the power that I still have over alcohol, and I'm sure that someone could psychoanalyze that and explain that if you're having those conversations, it's probably the sign of a problem. But regardless, the point of Dry February and the point of this rambling is to let you folks know that I am raising money for cancer research, and again, if you feel like donating, I will link to my personal page below, and I will also provide a link to dryfeb.ca if you feel like signing up yourself. I don't believe you have to be a Canadian citizen. I think that it's just the Canadian Cancer Society is just the organization putting it on. If you want to raise money for Canadian Cancer Society, I don't think they're going to scoff at it if you're from a different country. But regardless, it's something near and dear to my heart, and I will continue to fundraise for, we'll continue to talk about. And as we come to the end of this row here, I'm realizing that I don't want to time-lapse our life away here, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish this field, and then I will bring you back in, and we'll move on to the next task, because we're already, I would say, probably 50% done this, maybe more. I didn't see the game tell me that it's 50% done, but regardless, this field's not going to take that much longer, and I want to be cognizant of your time, and I don't really want this whole video to just be a time lapse of me driving around a field. So with that said, I'm just going to pull over because I can't be texting and driving and can't be doing technology and driving, and we're going to take a break here, and then when you come back in, the field will be done, and we'll go from there. Thanks. We just got the message that the contract has been finished, but Mama didn't raise no quitters, so here I am finishing up the rest of the field. As I've said in previous episodes, because it's a contract, you don't have to do 100%, hence the fact that we got the message that the contract is done, but we've still got this square left. I'm just going to finish this up because why not, and it gives me a chance to chat with you a little bit more. I'm not really sure what we'll be doing going forward, but that seems to be the case every time I start to play, that I kind of come up with what's next in the moment, so we'll see. But either way, I'm going to take this time now to yet again thank you all for tuning in, for joining me each week. The plan going forward is to continue to do 2 episodes a week as opposed to just 1 a week, and if I can keep that rhythm going without burning myself out, then that's what I'm going to continue to do. But bear with me, though, because I also still have a full-time job that keeps me away from recording, keeps me busy doing my job, quite literally. So I can't guarantee that it will continue to be 2 episodes a week, but my hope is that we can do that. And if I can without it becoming a detriment to my mental or physical health, then I'm going to definitely try and keep doing 2 episodes a week. There we go. Turn off their tractor and hop out and come down to that. Collect payment. $5,274 we just made on that, and as you can see, the equipment is gone. The ground has changed to look different, but in any event, that's kind of irrelevant, but I told you anyway, so here we are. Now that I'm thinking about it, we don't have to hop back to our vehicle because our farm should be just over this way. In fact, this should be our wheat field here that we can run through, and it's looking good. We can even jump through it if we really want. How tall is it? I don't know how tall my character is, but oh, that's the wrong button. It's getting pretty tall. We're getting there, that's for sure. Anyway, ADD moments aside, let's get back to the farm, and I'm going to have to take my John Deere tractor down to the store to customize it to put the narrow tires on, but that's really for a benefit because we also have to rent a fertilizer sprayer and get some fertilizer, so we'll be able to check a bunch. That, I don't know why words are so hard for me today. We'll be able to check a bunch of boxes, is what I was trying to say, all at the same time, so we'll get going down to the store in just a moment. That's a very random patch of grass and stuff. Sorry about that. That's another one of those ADD moments. Here's another little patch of grass. I suspect that when we came through and collected all the grass with the forage wagon, we missed those 2 spots. If you missed last episode, there was a couple more trees in back here, which I will demonstrate. There's one there, one there, one there, one there, and one there. So we only cut down a couple, but you can see how much space is already opened up. And again, we're not going to be buying a chicken pen right now, but I did want to demonstrate how, like, kind of why I wanted this space. We don't have enough money for it right now, but like we can put the chickens in here, probably in a way that it makes it accessible with the tractor, because as you can see, you need to dump the food in that silo there, and the idea being, if I can put the chickens in here and keep driving in through this pathway here, then then it looks nice that we can still have a lot of trees and shrubbery and stuff without impacting the infrastructure that we need to run a successful farm. Okay, so now we've got to take the John Deere tractor. As I said, we're going to head down to the store, and before I even do that, we're going to look at the fertilizer sprayers because we will need them for our fields. So we can only afford this one right now, which is not great. Is that even a sprayer? I don't think that's a sprayer. I think that's literally just a tank. Okay, then yeah, we're gonna have to lease this one, which is $1,700. It's more than I'd like to spend, but we made more than that off the contract work, so that's not terrible. So I'll wait till we get down to the store to lease that, just to make sure that I'm not ensuing some hourly costs and what have you. And as well, we're going to need to get some of these containers of liquid fertilizer. You can see there's no difference between these two other than the name, the branding. So we'll get a couple of those, but again, we'll head down to the store first because I want to make sure that we're being as good and proper with our timing and everything else. So we'll head down to the store, and this may turn into a problem, especially with the friggin' deer running through my yard all the time. I don't know if you guys can see this, but I want to see if... Yeah, so there's ice and stuff on the road, so that's going to be a bit of a problem, but we'll get that sorted eventually, and yeah, I'll see you down there. Now that we're at the store, we're going to go ahead and lease those items there, so we'll start with the sprayer. Again, we're not going to lease this because it is literally just a tank to transport fertilizer. If we ever end up getting the hydroponic greenhouse, that might be what I purchase because it will make things good. But regardless, let's see how much it costs to... no, you know what? We're going to start with this one because it's going to be cheap to lease, and I don't necessarily want to go too big because my concern if I go too big is that if I lease this one, I've got to do the grass field as well. So my concern is that if I lease this one for the grass field, the arms are going to be too wide and we'll be having just a terrible time of it. So we're going to go with this one. Lease, yes. Again, it's a little bit more expensive than I would like, but that seems to be the way of the world nowadays. And we'll start with just one of these. And worst case Ontario, if it's... if we don't use all of it, we can just empty it back at the field and leave it kind of off to the side somewhere for the next time we need fertilizer, because when we go to return the fertilizer sprayer, I am going to make sure that it's empty, because that will quite literally be just a waste of the fertilizer. Okay, so there's some left in that. I'm not sure of the math. I feel like it's about 800 liters left in that. But we'll head down to the farm, and we're gonna start with the grass field because that will be quick. That should be easy. It should just be quick spray, and then we're done. Well, it would certainly help if I wasn't a dingus. Drove all the way down there with this tractor in order to get the narrow tires, and I made it around the corner before I realized I didn't put narrow tires on. Thankfully, I've made friends with the neighbors here who don't mind all that much if I drive through their fields, because they do it all the time, and frankly, I think they're out of town anyway, so it won't matter too much. Alright, let's go back to the store and get our tires customized. I've never done this on this map, so I'm not 100% sure where we need to go to do this, but I believe that I saw it one of the times I went down to Johnson's Farmers Market. Okay, yeah, you see the wrench icon there. This is where you go to customize vehicles and stuff if you don't have a shop on your own properties. Okay, just stop there, turn it off, and in we go to the shop. customize, and we've got to change that to narrow tires. It's another $1,000, but again, I will probably just leave the narrow tires on this tractor and use it specifically for these tasks of driving through the fields. And I wanted to check something before we get out of here. If I go to switch back to the other tires, I believe that they're free now. Standard are free, and so are narrow tires. So yeah, now going forward, we can come back here and switch between the two types of tires whenever we feel like, and there won't be a cost going forward. Once more, I come back to see that there's the darn deer in my darn yard eating my darn grass, and I don't know what to do at this point. I suspect that this is just my life now, that I have to contend with deer on my property at all times. I don't know. It is what it is, I suppose. Okay, we'll get the sprayer going, and we'll get rolling. Unfortunately, because there is the snow on the ground, you can't see the change in texture on the grass, but if we turn the sprayer off there for a second and stop, I can show you. See, the pass that we've done there has changed to this darker blue, and that means we've applied the second state of fertilization. And with the grass in particular, by the time it's ready to harvest, it will be 100% fertilized. And if we've done things right, which I believe we have, this will also remain 100% fertilized until it's time to harvest. Okay, I'm bringing you back in because I want to check something here. Yeah, see, I missed along the edges there, but that's not the end of the world. We'll still get good fertilization, and I like to periodically check the map, because as much as I've talked about, it's okay to overlap with like the harvesting and the cultivating and stuff like that. When it comes to fertilization, you want to try and avoid overlap, simply because you're wasting resources at that point. If you're not gonna get another stage of fertilization if you do, if you're going over the same spot multiple times. There's the tree, but you know what? We're going to use the tree to our advantage and spin around it, like that scene from The Matrix when Neo uses the pole to spin around and kick all the agents. And we'll see what the state of our field is like by checking the map again. We did pretty good. We've got to do one more pass, and we should be good to go for this field. We've only used just under 30%, so that's pretty good. We for sure will have to get more IBCs of fertilizer for the wheat field, because it's significantly larger. Let's just check the map to make sure I've lined up correctly. For the most part, we'll just finish this field, and then we'll jump right into the wheat field and get that done as quick as we can. But again, just based on the planting process, I suspect that will be a bit of a laborious task. Okay, so I guess I can't really hide the mistake there. I got a little bit too close to the trees, and that's what you saw there. I'm gonna try and get us lined up again, that we're picking up roughly where we left off, and then we'll get rolling again. forgive me for stopping. I don't know what happened here. I have not driven on this piece of land. Like, I didn't destroy this, because if I did, you would see tire tracks heading to this spot. So we're going to head into the map here and see, did it just not... No, there's... Okay, I guess that is a glitch of some kind, and that this is actually here. It just doesn't show up like it is. I guess we'll see when it comes time to harvest. So now we know that that we can't even do an entire lap with this tank. But again, we're just starting out. We can't really afford or justify buying the crazy large pieces of equipment. So rather than take the entire tractor down to the store, or take the sprayer and the tractor and stuff down to the store. What I'm gonna do is I'm going to come in here and find some pallets. Where are they? Liquid fertilizer. And I'm going to buy 2 of those, which is pretty expensive, but again, it's going to be necessary, and if there's extra, we can leave it on the farm. Get the truck started up, and let's get out of here. We're going to head down to the store. Shake harder, boy, they're getting away. Oh, I guess the neighbor doesn't like me driving through their piece of land. Sorry about that, random old guy. Well, I'm sure he'll get over it. It's not like I stole his lemon tree or something. And we'll get the straps on. Nice. Strap on. I swear I'm an adult. Okay, I'll see you back at the farm. Alright, let's head back over to towards the tractor. We're not going to drive into the field because, as we learned, crop destruction is on and we don't want to do that, but I will get as close as I can to make the whole process just a little bit easier to fill up. And yeah, I'll at this point I'll probably do another lap with you guys and then cut to the end, because I suspect that this field is going to take pretty long, and I don't want to bore you. Oh. Kind of zoned out there for a second. That's entirely on me. So what we're going to do is, now that the tractor started up, because I've got these narrow tires on and I know that I can get away with driving through the crops with this, I wanted to move the tractor instead of the truck, because again, we want to make sure that we're not destroying crops, we're not destroying the field. This unfolded, and off we go. Alright, at this point, I'm going to just go ahead and Wow, English is really hard for me this episode. I apologize for that, but I'm sure you'll see as the series goes on that sometimes articulating myself is something something I have a challenge with, and that is terribly ironic that I had a challenge saying that. Anyway, I'm gonna finish up this field without you, and then I'll bring you back in to say goodbye and what have you. So thanks. And just this last little strip. I always forget how big this field is until I actually have to work on it, but it is what it is. My hope is that when it comes time to harvest this, that it will yield very well, and that we'll be able to make some pretty decent money and eventually own our own equipment. And as you can see, I've missed a whole bunch of patches here, but the vast majority of the field is now fertilized, so I'm just going to call it a day in that I'm not going back through and checking all of these. It's been a process, and I'd like to keep some of this fertilizer for myself, for that matter. Actually, you know what? I do want to get rid of this 99 liters so we can just save whatever is left. Holy jeez, words are not my friend today. Okay, so we'll just do this pass here. Anytime now. It takes a while for these things to unfold, apparently, but it also makes sense because I believe in real life that these things would have to be unfolded by hand, so it's kind of making life a little bit easier that it's unfolding on your behalf. And even hooking these things up is much more complicated than backing into them and just hitting a button. There's a lot of things that need to be done to get them functioning properly and what have you, and maintenance and all that stuff, which we just simply don't have to do. That is that. We're just going to go ahead and slow down here so we're not crashing into our truck. And we could return the fertilizer sprayer now. There you have it, folks. We're just going to get things put away and tucked away for the next episode. By next week, rather, we'll have skipped ahead to February, and we'll get rolling on some other odds and ends and jobs around the farm. My hope is that we'll do some landscaping, and I'll get rid of these shrubs and stuff because they are still from when I had that weird storage bin bunker silo looking situation. And I'm probably going to get rid of this shed as well because it's another shed that I can't actually use. It's just here for decoration, so I'm going to get rid of Hey, collectibles. Nice. There's a little cash injection for us. There's $2,000 just for wandering around. Anyway, we're going to try and do some landscaping and tidy up the yard a little bit, because if you'll recall, when we were sorting out our grass field over here, let me drive over here to demonstrate, I made a bunch of this grass go away when I sold the cow pasture that used to be here. So we're going to get some sod, we're going to put some grass down here again, and just kind of pretty things up a little bit, and we'll see how the farm comes together. I'm feeling pretty confident how things are looking and coming together now, but we may hit some snags. Like, generally speaking, we seem to be using more money than we're making, but I'm really hopeful that first wheat harvest ends up being really, really big for our bank account, because as of right now, we don't have any need for the wheat. I mean, we can store it, and what I might try and do is store just enough for whatever a cow, or not a cow, but a chicken pen might need. But generally speaking, we're going to sell all that wheat, and just based on how long it's taken to plant, how long it's taken to fertilize, and will likely how long it will take to harvest, my hope is that that's going to be a big money maker for us, and that we can get enough money that we won't have to keep leasing equipment every time we have to do anything. Just before I let you guys go, as a reminder, I am taking part in the Dry February campaign for the Canadian Cancer Society, where I'm raising money for cancer research while maintaining sobriety for the month of February. If you have some extra dough you want to donate, or if you just feel like you want to donate to a good cause, I've provided a link to my personal page down below. Or if you don't feel like donating to me in particular, by all means donate to the Canadian Cancer Society by going to dryfeb.ca. Either way, both of those links will be seen below, and until next time.